So I've been kind of out of the loop a little bit past week and whatnot. A lot of things have changed. Andy's been recently brought in as well. Made a couple adjustments in terms of hierarchy and all that. We wanted to just kind of talk to you about where your mind is at with all this. I know this affects you as well.
Personally, I like the consolidation. Doing shit where it's like putting everyone together into one thing so everyone has eyes on everyone else is good. I felt the subcrew was not good. It was hard for people to get a handle on what's actually going on, right? So that's good. I think adding more people to sort of like upper ranks is good because that's needed. But I feel like now overall, with how many people we have, there might be too many people in roles in general. But the roles aren't specific, right? I think maybe if they were specific, it'd be a little better. But when they're not specific, like, you know, captains and enforcers especially, they don't have specific tasks and ops they handle or whatever. They come to me not knowing what to do sometimes, right?
I mean, they are specific though, right? If they listen, people just choose not to listen and they're pretending they never have an idea what the fuck's going on.
I mean, that's true. No, that's true. That's true. I have been tasking some of them with specific stuff and they've been kind of doing it, so that's been good. But you know, I just feel like there are a lot of people with some sort of rank, but at the same time, I think it feels really bad to remove some of them from those ranks because they haven't all been doing a shit job. You know, I think they've actually been fine. So I would feel weird suggesting, you know, oh, let's demote half of them or something like that either. So
yeah, I mean, we can rework like captains and forces and whatnot, which we have, right? And maybe a couple more promotions that are still in line, but
more promotion.
Okay, I mean, you've been taking charge of a lot of things from the very beginning, and now we have more specific ranks. Got the underboss, we got Angie coming in as some sort of fixer. Where does that leave your duties in your eyes when it comes to things aside from numbers, of course?
Well, my duties have always been completely nebulous. Other than treasure roles specifically, everything else that I've done was just because I did it, right? It's never been assigned, never been anything like that. I just did it. So I don't know what you guys want, if I'm being honest, for that.
Well, I mean, we have to adapt to the current changes, right? And you know a lot of our operations, how they work. I mean, it's really like where you see yourself, like what you see yourself doing with these changes that we made, right?
I don't really see too much of a need for anything to be different. I just like having more people in positions where they can do some of the same stuff as me, because when I'm the only one doing it, I feel sometimes a little crazy because I feel like I'm the only person sitting there and having eyes on everything, right? Like with money, I have eyes on what everyone's doing for money. No one else really pays attention to that besides me because I'm the only one putting shit together. So having more people who are put at a level where they're allowed to do that, I think is good, because then I could talk to them, right? And I could say, hey, I've seen this person doing this shit, I've seen that person doing that shit, and they know what I'm talking about, right? So I think that's really good, honestly.
Okay.
We had a conversation with Annie last night, right? Obviously, we brought her in. We gave her kind of a few days to get situated. And then we had a meeting with her last night, you know, to kind of catch up, see how things are going, see what she was doing, whatever. We were pretty much explaining to her that her role is going to be the fixer, this, that, and the third. And then we'll probably kick things off on Monday when Luciano's back or whatever. And then she asked, do you guys give a about, you know, what other people think in the crew? We said, no, we don't really give a shit. You know, what we say goes. And then she asked, what about Gigi? Because she said that she spoke to you and you mentioned, I'm just going to hard paraphrase, but essentially you kind of spoke on saying that you could have been doing things that she's doing like this whole time or something.
I can tell you how, like what I said, yeah, because I don't want to get telephone. When we were doing our one-on-one, I basically told her, hey, this is what my experience working in the crew is. And I told her, you know, depending on how you do things, they're going to ask you to do some stuff and you're probably going to tell them some of the same things that I've said. And I think it's hard for me to always get some shit done because I'm one person, right? Like I said, I have a lot of eyes on how things go. And if I suggest something, if one of you kind of doesn't see what I'm saying and another one immediately doesn't get it either, it just becomes me versus like 4 or 5 people, right? So a lot of shit just gets Donald, honestly, just gets completely like, nah. So I told her, you know, make sure that...
Yeah, what does that mean?
Basically, it just means when you say something, you feel like you're just talking to a wall a little bit, right? You don't get the chance to kind of chip away at it, if you know what I mean. So I was telling her, you know, it would be good for her to also be thinking of some of these things and being a proponent of them, because then she's not just one person, I'm not just one person, Clark isn't just one person, right? So I was saying, like, you know, you're probably going to say some of the I said, talk to me, talk to Clark, talk to someone else, you know, kind of at that level as well about it. So that way you don't feel like you're just one person saying it to a group of Dons. You know what I mean? Because it's a little hard to get some ideas across when you're presenting something and none of you have had the idea. It's just a thing I'm trying to say, right?
Well, I guess the question is, do you feel like she's stepping on your toes doing this?
No, I think we need more people doing it. So the thing is, I told them, you know, well, some of this stuff, because we talked about specifics of what could be fixed. And I said, well, some of the stuff I've said. So, you know, I said, and this is one of the problems that I think will be fixed with having you here, is we can get together and come up with plans and say it together. That's it, right?
So then you have no issue with, you know, with the role that we want her for.
No.
You don't feel she's going to be stepping on your toes, you know, maybe doing things that you would rather be doing.
No, she seemed worried about it. And I think maybe that first sentence that I said might have like sounded negative, right? Like, well, they could just ask me because I would just say the same things, right? But the point is not, oh, why are they bringing you in? They could ask me. The point is, well, so far I've tried and I feel like being one person hasn't always been enough to get some of these things done. So having another is really, really good.
You sure that's how you feel?
Yeah.
All right.
So what you're saying is you and her, and maybe, well, yeah, you and her, I guess, would work on the same type of things, I guess, that you've already kind of been working on. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, really, the thing is she communicates differently from me, right? And we are aligned on some ideas, but when we're talking to people, the way we'll describe shit, the way someone will say things to me versus her will be different. And I think that's important in just kind of getting ideas together from the crew.
I mean, a big thing with her is that she's kind of, you know, she's brand new to the crew. She's got this outside perspective as well. Different kind of a line of experience. You know, it could be good to have a different point of view on things, right? So that's also a big reason why she would be coming in to like fix things or whatever, right?
Yeah, which is good because at the end of the day, I moved here in December, never lived here before, right? She's a former gang leader. She has a different perspective as well, so I think that's valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's just important that you don't feel like your toes are being stepped on, though. So if that's the case, like, you know, it's better we figure that out now before we officially put her in that role.
No, I'm optimistic about it. I don't know if maybe she took what I said wrong, but my meaning behind that was, look, I've tried some of these things. It's really hard when I'm one person to kind of get some of this shit pushed through. Having another person to also have these ideas, maybe if it's not the same idea either and we're workshopping it before we bring it to you, so I don't have to info dump, I could just say, here's the final plan, is way more efficient.
What about your role? Are you comfortable with your role, which you had for a long time, and you know you're still doing it? Good job at it.
Yeah, I mean, I already talked to Speedy about this. We already had a discussion, you know, you and I did, where when I tell a new member I'm the treasurer, they don't know what that means. They don't know what that means in hierarchy, and they don't know how much I do outside of that, right? They just go, okay, you do the books, even though it's a lot beyond that. So I was saying, like, I don't know if the name is right for it, but at the same time, I don't feel that deeply about it, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I've always just been able to do most of the stuff that I need to do.
That makes sense. Would you rather just be known as a treasurer?
I don't know. I don't know what's functionally better, because there are people they say, oh, Gigi's treasurer, and then they find out all the other stuff that I do, and it I don't know. It makes like the onboarding process weird, but at the same time, that's a single conversation to have with someone for them to understand it.
Yeah.
I think some people have been really confused in what I do versus what underboss does. And tell me if this is wrong. What some people have been saying, what I've been saying has been, it sounds like I'm more back end, he's more front end, right? He's on the ground operations, I'm doing back end operations. But I don't know if that's a good enough explanation for people. I think that's fine,
a perfect
right?
explanation, honestly.
Okay.
You like logistics and all that shit, and Clark is, you know, the grunt work, like on the field, you know, managing all the PMs,
I just don't want to be saying that people if you had like a, you know, different thought on it, but okay, good.
I would say that's pretty accurate.
I mean, that's it really. I don't know. I didn't really have like a...
I mean, Andy thinks very highly of you. I want you to think it was like from a place of, it was a place of like concern and making sure you're good and making sure that she can have that role without making you feel less in your role.
Yeah, she didn't want to like basically take over something like you might be doing, like, in a sense. You get what I'm saying? So like, you know, it's not like a bad comment-wise. It's more like, you know, not trying to like hurt you kind of vibe.
No, and I did tell her. I mean, I know she's not that kind of person, so I don't really, like, just because it's her, right? I don't really have that concern. But then I told her, like, an example is she's doing these one-on-ones with everyone. I used to do those. Am I glad she's doing them? Yeah. You know, I gave her that as an example. I said, that's good, because could I do them? Yeah, but it's good for someone else to do it. Straight up. Yeah. Spread that shit out. So.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to take workload off of you, right? I mean, you do so much. It's definitely better to stretch it out, or at least that's how we view it. And if you feel differently though, and you want all that workload, you let us know, because you know, some people just like to work and like to have a lot on their plate. Some people, you know, would rather have some off their plate and be able to chill more. It really depends on the person, right?
I feel like you guys always think I'm like working to death and dying, but I'm doing fine. I think I had maybe compared to some people, but I still don't think it's that bad. I think I did have a lot more to do when we first started the subcrew system, because I had to do nothing but like hound the captains for and explain numbers to them 100 times, and that took legitimately all of my time. At this point, now that we've consolidated, once I finish the property, I'm chilling. I'm actually chilling, so, you know.
Okay.